Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Asif. If you want to know more about linguistics and literature, this is the best place where you have to be. Today I'm going to discuss with you one of the most interesting poems in American literature, that's Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Lee Frost. Before we move on, let's know something about the poet Robert Frost. Full Robert Lee Frost, his full name. He was born on 26 March 1874 in San Francisco, California, US. Died 29th January 1963, Boston, Massachusetts. He's an American poet, as I told you, and he's admired for his depiction of rural life of New England, his command of colloquial speech, his realistic verse portraying ordinary people in everyday situation. His famous or popular poems are Mending Wall, Directive, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, The Road Not Taken, Nothing Gold Can Stay, Fire and Ice, Birches, and After Apple Picking. About this poem, Robert Frost wrote the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening in 1922. It was published in his New Hampshire volume in 1923. So these two developments are important for everyone to know. First, it was published in New Hampshire and it was published in 1923. So 1923 New Hampshire volume. These two developments are very important for every literature student to know. Next, famous themes of these poems are exhaustion, fatigue, depression, optimism, commitment, life, and death. Let's move on to the poem. Whose words these are, I think I know. Poet says that he knows who the owner of these words is. His house is in the village, though. He says he knows that his house is in the village. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. He says that if I stop here and watch this mesmerizing scene, actually, a poet, that's Robert Frost, he's spellbounded by this mesmerizing scene of these woods fill up with snow. He stops there. Actually, he has got some promises to be kept, some obligations to be fulfilled. So, but he was going on his journey. Suddenly, he looks at this beautiful scene, a kind of, you can say, distraction from his goal. Stops here. He says that no one is here to stop me to enjoy this beautiful scene, to watch his words fill up with snow. So he can stay here for a long time because there is no one here to stop him. The next one, he has got his horse. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and the frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. Now he is riding his horse, so his little horse must think it queer, strange, unusual. Actually, no, animals, or here you can say horse. Normally, horse stop where they can find some shelter or food. So he says that his little horse thought it strange to stop at this place. There is no farmhouse near. There is no provision of food, shelter, between the woods and the frozen lake. And this place is between the woods and the frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. And the evening is darkest one. So there is no one around here, no farmhouse near. So actually, his little horse, it is his mindset, his ideology, remember, his thought process. Like, for example, he was going on to do his work. He was on the way to fulfill some obligations, to keep some promises. But suddenly, when he was going, he found one mesmerizing scene. So this horse is symbolic of his mindset. He is in indecision, to be or not to, whether to stop or move on. So he stops there, but he says that his mind is not ready to accept the fact that he has to stop here. He has to go from here and fulfill his obligation and keep his promises, which he will reveal in next few lines. So he says that his little horse found it very unusual to stop at this time of the year, when the evening is darkest and between the woods and the frozen lake. So there is no one around here. So he is torn between his responsibility and solace. He's torn between these two aspects in his mind. Next, he gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. He gives horse, shakes his head, and harness means a set of leather which is put around horse neck with some bell, you can say, to ask if there is some mistake. So horse kind of nodded or wanted to ask the poet whether he has made some mistake by stopping here. The only other sound sweep of easy wind and the downy flake. So here there are three sounds: the sounds of harness bells and sounds sweep of easy wind. Sweep means very light movement of easy wind, and the downy flake. What is downy flake? The flakes of snow which are soft, which are fallen from the sky. So here there are three sounds. So when horse shakes his harness bells to confirm his master, that's the poet, whether he has made some mistake by stopping here, because there is no one around here, then there is two more sounds here according to the poet: the sounds of the sweep of easy wind, very light movement of the wind, and the downy flake, the sound of falling of flakes of snow. So you can imagine it is so silent, so peaceful, so serene place. There is no one around here. And the last line, these lines are very, very memorable, you can say. Many people, they have quoted these lines from literature. So I will I will recite these lines. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So here actually you get the answer to your questions. First of all, woods are lovely, dark and deep. Woods means actually opportunities, chance, scope in your life. So they say that you have very lovely goals in your life. Sometime you have dark and deep. Sometimes you have some uncertain goals in life. Though words, his distraction, where he stops and enjoys that mesmerizing scene, though it is lovely, though it is very dark and deep, but he says he cannot stop there, because he has to keep some promises, he has to fulfill some obligations. He has promised people to do something, and he has to keep that promise. So for that he says that though the situations look very lovely, they look very endearing, but you cannot stop there. You cannot stop. You have to move on in life. I remember one line I read somewhere. I don't know who has written it. It says that happiness is the journey, not a destination. So you can pass your life happily. You can enjoy, but this is not your destination. You need to be really earnest and serious in your life. Same thing is here, that you will get so many goals in your life. You will get so many situations, a kind of distractions, interruptions in your life, but you need to ignore them and move on. So he says that though woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. I have to achieve a lot before I relax. I have to achieve a lot before I go to bed. Go to bed means before I relax, before I be inactive, I dull in my life, I need to do a lot more. So this is the theme of this poem. I've got some MCQs for you. We'll try to solve them. Multiple choice questions. Like first one, does the house belong to man or woman? What is the answer, man or woman? So you know his house is in the village, his house. So his pronoun is used for man. So the correct answer, let me take the correct answer. The correct answer is man. His house is in the village. His house, not her house. Good. Second one, where is the house? The village, by the road, the woods. There is no house. As I told you, the village. So this is the answer here, the village. Yeah, this one. Next, why does the narrator stop by the woods? Who will answer this? To hear the harness bells, to see the woods fill up with snow, to see the fires burning, to see the stars twinkling. So why does he stop by the woods? Answer is very simple. To see the woods fill up with snow. So this is the correct answer. Fourth one. What must think it's queer to stop? What must think it's queer to stop, unusual to stop? The answer is very simple. That's a little horse. Whose horse? Poet horse. Poet's horse. So this is the answer. Second one. Excellent. Next. What isn't near? A fire, the road, the village, or a farmhouse? A farmhouse. Sixth, insert the missing word between dash the frozen lake. So between the woods and the frozen lake. So which word is missing here? That's woods. Good. Next, is this the correct line? The coldest evening of the year. Coldest evening is not mentioned here. As I told you, the darkest evening of the year. So is this line correct? No, absolutely no. This right line is incorrect. Next, who, what gives his harness bells a shake? A little horse, little pony, little mule, little cow. Little horse, excellent. There is no other sound but the harness bells. Are there only one sound? No, there are three sounds as I told you. Harness bells, that wind, and downy flake. There are three sounds there. So this is false one. Excellent. Next one. Why does he give his harness bells a shake? Horse. To ask if there is some mistake. So this is the answer. Very simple one. If you have read the poem, you will answer all these questions very easily. So you need to read the poem several times. Only then you can answer this. This is a very simple text, very simple poem. Just you need to read this over and over again. Good, excellent. Next one. What other reasons can't narrator stay in the woods? Because he is tired of waiting in the woods. Because the little horse is getting impatient. He still has miles to go. He is getting cold. So what is your answer? What other reasons can't narrator stay in the woods? Because he still has miles to go. 12th, the narrator can't stay in the woods because he has promises to keep. True. That's true. Robert Frost was born. I told you, remember that day, remember the year. That's 1874. This one, 1874. Remember this one. The horse thought it was that. Stop there. Useless, strange, queer, foolish. Answer is here. This word is there in the poem. That's queer. 15th. The poet could not stop to enjoy the beauty of the scene because he was in a hurry. He had long way to go. He had promises someone to return. He had miles to go. So what is the answer? He had miles to go. He had promised someone to return. So you can take C as the correct answer because he has some promises to be kept. So this is the correct answer. The woods were filled up with ice, flour, snow, hail. Snow. It's correct. Very simple answer. Why does the speaker of the poem stop to say hello to the owner of the woods, to find food for his or her horse, to go skating on the frozen lake, to watch the woods fill up with snow? So this is very simple because I had already told you to watch the woods fill up with snow. 18th, what is the setting of this poem? In the woods on a bright snowy evening, near the woods on a dark snowy evening, in a village in dark snowy evening, by the frozen lake on the bright snowy evening. So what's correct one? Near the woods on a dark snowy evening. So second is the correct answer. Dark and snowy evening. Last two, what can you conclude based on this information? The woods are far away from the village. The woods are near some houses. The owner of the woods is friends with the speaker of the poem, the speaker of the poem does not like the owner of the woods. So what can you conclude? The woods are far away from the village. Woods are near some houses. Owner of the woods is friends with the speaker of the poem. Speaker of the poem does not like the owner of the woods. So actually you can, there are two correct answers here. You can say that the woods are near some houses, far away from the houses. And owner, he say, I know whose wood these are, I think I know, he says that in the first line. So you can say that the owner of the woods is friends with speaker of the poem. So you can take this as a correct answer, because these two options also seem correct one. So you can take just one of them. 20. What is one thing that pulls the speaker of the poem away from the woods? The freezing harsh wind, the cold snowy weather, darkness of the evening, promises the speaker needs to keep. So what is one thing that pulls the speaker of the poem away from the woods? The freezing harsh wind, cold snowy weather, darkness of the evening, promises the speaker needs to keep. So you can say that the promises which he needs to keep. So this is actually, he has to fulfill some obligations, he has got some responsibilities to take up. That's why he does not want to stop there. If he stops there, he believes that he won't be able to do justice with his goal of keeping his promise, because he had committed someone to do something, and that's why he believes in moving on rather than stopping there, enjoying that mesmerizing scene. At last, also, there are two more questions. What might be a main theme of this poem? Pull of being alone in nature against the pull of responsibility, pull of sleeping in nature against the pull of sleeping at home, the ability of nature to make a person feel tired and sleepy, fear of staying too long on someone else's land. So which one do you think is the correct answer, correct option? I feel it's first one only, the pull of being alone in nature against the pull of responsibility, because you are social animal, you have some responsibilities to fulfill in your life, so you cannot stop at some place, you cannot be isolated, so you need to go and fulfill your responsibility. So I think first one is correct answer. 22nd, why might poet have repeated the line "and miles to go before I sleep"? To make the woods seem more attractive and lovely, to make the speaker seem forgetful and less smart than earlier in the poem, to make readers pay special attention to the meaning of the line, to make the speaker seem like he or she is already asleep. So third is the correct answer actually. To make readers pay special attention to the meaning of the line, because when you read it once, you may not understand, you say, what the hell is this sleeping going miles, but it has got actually implied meaning, it has got deep meaning behind it. So what is that? You need to explore and find out that meaning. The meaning is that you can do something before you go to bed before you relax. So life is very short, you need to take up some promises, some goals and responsibilities. If you can fulfill them, after that you will have ample time to relax. So this is the theme of this poem. So thank you very much for being with me. Hope you enjoyed this poem.